Hello everyone. Today British newspapers are hitting hard. The head of MI5 is openly claiming that counterintelligence has been gutted because a court collapsed the Chinese espionage case. Beijing is officially sending threats to London, and on top of that, there's national humiliation. Israeli Maccabi fans have been labeled a threat to Britain, and against this backdrop, Trump is moving toward Putin. I spent years inside a major media organization, watching how narratives were shaped and twisted to serve agendas instead of truth. I left that world behind. Now I work independently, I speak without filters, and I bring you what actually matters. If this kind of honest, unfiltered coverage resonates with you, hit that like button and subscribe. And if you believe in supporting independent voices that refuse to bend to the mainstream script, consider becoming a channel sponsor. It means more than you might think. It keeps this work free from outside pressure and keeps the truth flowing. Let's start with the Daily Telegraph. The headline reads like a verdict: Fiasco, the Chinese spy case. That's the general theme across the board. The Telegraph writes that MI5 chief Sir Ken McCallum made a rare intervention into government affairs, expressing his frustration after the trial against two accused individuals collapsed, and emphasizing that Beijing poses a threat every single day. Also on the front page, there's a photo of the Duke of York, Prince Andrew, shaking hands with a high-ranking Chinese Communist Party official. The paper stresses there are no allegations linking the prince to the scandal itself. The Independent brings a stark warning to its front page. Britain must decisively defend itself against threats from Beijing. The focus is on the daily threat and the consequences of the trial's collapse for ongoing counterintelligence operations. Sir Ken's rare public statement is highlighted in the headline, "The collapse of the trial has effective." The front page quotes the MI5 chief saying that Chinese state operators threaten Britain's national security on a daily basis, and that the country needs to protect itself decisively against China. The Daily Mirror echoes the same line: China, a daily threat. The Mirror places this phrase right next to a photo of Sir Ken, pulling from his annual speech at MI5 headquarters in London, warning of a more hostile world in the wake of the trial's failure. The Financial Times focuses on Beijing's response. The Chinese embassy in London warned Britain to stop undermining Sino-British relations, calling the government's public statements pure speculation and fabrication after materials from the case were published, a case that ultimately fell apart. In a related piece, Sky News points out that the government has once again delayed a decision on China's super embassy project in London, leaving economic and diplomatic relations hanging in limbo. Now, this is where it gets uncomfortable. Why is it that every time Britain tries to push back on espionage or security threats from Beijing, something collapses? The trial falls apart. The evidence doesn't stick. The process gets derailed. And meanwhile, Beijing just keeps pushing, and London keeps hesitating. Is this incompetence, or is there something deeper going on that we're not being told? The Daily Mail today features a front-page photo of Prince Andrew with the same Chinese official. The photo was taken back in 2018. The paper underscores that there were at least 3 meetings, but no proof linking Andrew to any alleged espionage episodes. The context revolves around accusations against Christopher Cash and Christopher Berry, who allegedly gathered insider political intelligence and passed it to an agent connected to the Chinese official. Both accused deny guilt. The Guardian writes, lawmakers are pressuring the chief prosecutor over the collapse of the espionage case. Heads of committees on internal affairs, foreign policy, justice, and national security are writing to Crown Prosecution Service Chief Stephen Parkinson, demanding a fuller explanation for the withdrawal of charges. They're asking, were ministers warned about the risk of collapse? Was witness Matthew Collins informed that his testimony might be insufficient? The Chinese embassy calls the accusations pure fabrication and malicious slander, while the MI5 director expresses his disappointment. And here's a question you should be asking yourself. If this case was so important, if the threat is so daily and so real, why wasn't it airtight? Why are we only hearing about procedural failures after the whole thing implodes? Something doesn't add up here. The Times notes that the diplomatic conflict around this case underscores growing tension between national security concerns and the government's desire to build positive economic ties with China. The decision on the Chinese super embassy has been postponed again until the end of the year, reportedly due to fears that the facility could become a base for further espionage, all while Beijing categorically denies everything and the MI5 chief continues to use harsh language about the daily threat. Like and subscribe if you're still with me, because this gets even messier. Drop a comment and let me know. Do you think this collapse was accidental, or does someone benefit from keeping things murky? The Metro leads with a sharp confrontational question. Whose side are you on, Sir Keir? That's a brutal headline right on the front page. It comes after former Security Minister Tom Tugendhat, for whom parliamentary researcher Christopher Cash once worked, accused the government of focusing on the process rather than ensuring the prosecution was solid. In the House of Commons, he threw down a direct challenge to Starmer. Whose side are you on? Think about that for a second. A former security minister is publicly questioning the Prime Minister's loyalty in the middle of a Chinese espionage scandal. That's not normal political theatre. That's a serious accusation wrapped in a parliamentary question. Next up, the Daily Express. The decision to ban Maccabi Tel Aviv fans from attending a Europa League match against Aston Villa in Birmingham has been called a national disgrace. That's a direct quote from Kemi Badenoch. The criticism was echoed by other politicians, including Sir Keir Starmer himself, who called the ban wrong. West Midlands Police say the decision was made based on current intelligence and past incidents, including violent clashes and hate-driven actions that occurred during the Ajax vs Maccabi Tel Aviv match in Amsterdam in 2024. The match has been classified as high risk. So let me get this straight. Israeli football fans are now considered such a threat that they can't attend a match on British soil. Meanwhile, Beijing can allegedly run espionage rings through Parliament and the trial collapses. Where exactly are we drawing the line on national security? The Independent surprisingly puts Putin on the cover, and not just Putin, but Putin practically holding hands with Trump. What's that about? Trump announced upcoming negotiations with the Russian president. He said, "I will meet with Putin in Budapest at the second summit on the war in Ukraine." That's pretty much all that's on the front page, aside from the main article. The main article highlights the MI5 chief's frustration over the collapse of the Chinese case, and adds that this week Britain prevented a national security threat from China. The comments intensify pressure on Sir Keir Starmer regarding how the prosecution was handled, all while the Chinese embassy insists it never interferes in the internal affairs of other countries. Right. Never interferes. Just has operatives allegedly working inside Parliament, but sure, no interference. Let me quickly recap what we've covered so far, because this is a lot to digest. MI5's chief publicly says counterintelligence has been gutted by a failed trial. Beijing denies everything and threatens retaliation. Prince Andrew's name surfaces again in connection with Chinese officials, though no wrongdoing is proven. A Chinese super embassy is stuck in limbo. Israeli football fans are banned from a match and labeled a security risk, and Trump is heading to meet Putin. All of this in one day on the front pages of Britain's major papers. So what does this all mean? It means Britain is caught in the middle, caught between wanting to appear tough on security and desperate not to anger Beijing economically, caught between defending its intelligence services and not being able to prosecute successfully, caught between principle and pragmatism, and right now it's losing on both fronts. If you care about understanding what's really going on behind these headlines, this is exactly why this channel exists. I'm not here to spin a narrative or protect anyone's reputation. I'm here to lay it out and let you decide. So hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you believe in keeping independent media strong, consider becoming a channel sponsor. Your support makes all the difference. The Sun puts a different issue on its cover: the late world boxing champion Ricky Hatton and a plea from his family. After a hearing, it became known that in September, he was found after taking his own life at his home. His loved ones are creating a charitable foundation in his honor and reaching out to people struggling with mental health. They're telling them, don't fight alone. The Daily Star also moved away from the Chinese spy topic and writes that former cricket star Andrew Freddie Flintoff says he feels guilt after the loss of boxer Ricky Hatton. He didn't know about his mental health struggles, but the last time they spoke, Hatton seemed fine. On Thursday, the inquest revealed that the 46-year-old Hatton was found at his home in September. It's believed he took his own life. That's the press today. And if I may add a comment, the Metro headline with its direct challenge to the Prime Minister is the kind that rattles even seasoned editors. And the Express today is a rare case where the sports page and politics merged into one angry shout. Disgrace. That's loud and very British, very straightforward. So here's what we're left with today. Disgrace, fiasco, threat every day. These aren't just shouts from the streets. These are front-page declarations in Britain's leading newspapers. London is under pressure. It doesn't know how to respond to China. Which of these crises is more serious? The spies, the football, or Putin? You tell me. Before I go, let's do a quick recap. The MI5 chief went public with rare frustration, saying a collapsed trial has gutted active counterintelligence work. Beijing fired back, calling it all lies and warned Britain to back off. Prince Andrew's old photos with Chinese officials resurfaced. No guilt proven, but uncomfortable timing. The Chinese super embassy decision is delayed again. Israeli fans were banned from a match and called a national threat. And Trump confirmed he's meeting Putin soon. All this on one Friday morning in Britain. So whose national disgrace benefits whom? And which paper caught your attention the most? Let me know in the comments. Smash that like button, subscribe to stay informed, and if you value this kind of raw, independent analysis, please consider supporting the channel as a sponsor. It keeps this work alive and free from corporate or political control. I'll see you in the next one. This is Andrew Meetrich, and I'll keep bringing you what matters.